question I got asked, I think it was by Cannell, and it was, what is the expectations for Kalen DeBoer next year? And I would love to hear your answer, because I gave him one, and I think he thought it was laughable. But go ahead, you go first.
I think it's a national championship. I mean, why would anything so you're taking over a program that lost in overtime to the eventual national champion, and you're inheriting a coach that played for the national championship with a better roster now. So why would the expectation not be a national championship? Anything short of a playoff appearance, there are going to be so many people second doubting this hire from Greg Byrne. So or a playoff is kind of the minimum. That's kind of the floor. And then obviously I think the expectation is we make a deep run here and we ultimately win a national championship.
I was going to say the minimum acceptable outcome for Alabama fans would be 10-2 in the college football playoff. And even then some of that depends on who the two are, especially if one of them is Auburn at home. That becomes a more magnified loss because it's your rival. But I think the minimum expectation by Alabama fans would be 10-2 in the college football playoff. And 10-2 would get you in the college football playoff. In years past at 10-2, you're probably just in the Sugar Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl. You're not in the playoff. Now you're to at least be in the playoff. You probably got a road game. You probably got a road game at 10-2, unless it's an incredible 10-2. But even still, you're in the college football playoff. But to me, that's the minimum. And even then, so let's say you make the college football playoff. What do you guys think would be an outcome where Alabama fans could stomach it at that point? I mean, is it only national championship where you're like,
I answered it. I answered it exactly like you guys did. The expectation is a national championship. I mean, that's just the expectation. But to me, the floor is making the 12-team college football playoff, because Alabama fans, love them or hate them, depending on where you are. They have been eating the best of the best food. They've been dining in the 5-star restaurant of college football, and that's not gonna change. So 10-2 or above. I mean, you go back to any of the Saban bad years, 3 losses are the bad years since 2008. So you don't expect that to change. That's why the roster movement is so big, because if the roster had not changed, they're going to be 1-2 with Georgia coming into the year. With the roster changes, we'll see where they land, but I don't think anybody's expecting them to be outside of the top 10 in the preseason. So that's your expectations, right?
Yeah, I don't think anything changes. I really don't. And look, it's going to be impossible to replicate what Saban was able to do. But, I mean, if DeBoer can do what he did at Washington, why would you not expect that? And I would be interested to hear how Cannell handled your answer.
Yeah, I've got the chat room to our answer. What did Cannell say to yours?
Cannell laughed and says, that's unbelievable. And it said something else that I think Dusty was talking over him a little bit there, but it was it was fair. It was laughing because, only at Alabama can you lose some people in the portal, get a brand new coach, and the expectations would be a national championship. And I think they may have said, Kalen DeBoer knew what he was getting into when he took this job. But I will tell you, this may seem stupid, but big news yesterday that the sports medicine and the training staff was kept together in Tuscaloosa. And if you don't connect the dots, David Ballou and company that started the whole sports medicine wing at the University of Alabama, that basically they were hired and told to design a state-of-the-art sports medicine facility, and Nick Saban had it built. And Jeff Allen, who has been at Tuscaloosa before Nick Saban and is staying there to be the head trainer, what those guys created over there, Ballou and Jeff Allen, but Ballou specifically building out that sports medicine, is state-of-the-art. And when you're talking about taking an elite athlete, and getting him to the NFL, his biggest asset, his biggest thing he has in his life is his health, his training, and the rehabilitation. And to keep David Ballou, who, by the way, was hired to Alabama from where? Indiana, where DeBoer and Womack. Yeah. So they Ballou and company came in to design that sports medicine thing before DeBoer and Womack are here, and now the band's all back together. That is huge on the recruiting trail. I don't know if it'll help keep the athletes there, but when they're out selling to elite recruits, a lot of recruits come to Tuscaloosa because what they offer in sports training, sports medicine, sports development, and just staying healthy.
Yeah, that was huge. And, Ellis Ponder, too. Ellis is the football operations guy that was Nick Saban trusted that guy implicitly. And that guy was also a guy Nick Saban would call anytime anything didn't work exactly right. Ellis's phone would ring. So that was pretty big keeping him around too. So Lance, I would agree. I mean, all those behind the scenes guys that you don't maybe recognize names, wouldn't recognize their face, that stuff was working pretty well. If you're Kalen DeBoer, why go recreate it if it was working well to begin with, right?
Yeah, I thought the Brandon Marcello tweet, somebody, it might have been one of you two, shared it with the group last night, but 13 hours ago, what if I told you the night Alabama won its last national title, that in 3 years, the Indiana offensive and defensive coordinators would take over for Nick Saban?
That's crazy.
In the times, man, that's nuts. But that's where we are right now.
Let's go ahead, Brownie.
Well, I was just going to give you some chat room reaction on expectations for Alabama. Steven says playoff. Bama Banana says the roster is decimated. Is decimated a fair word for you guys?
Not yet. Check with me if Caleb Downs leaves.
One guy, huh? Grind says 9-3 should be considered an okay season. 10-2 would be a great season. Keith says playoff. Pritch Law says give me a break, LT, on the national championship comment. Grind says bro said national championship. Laughy face. Laughing face. Daniel says transfers, LT, transfers. AK says
look, transfers going out, but you can also, one of the reasons Washington was so successful was because of their quarterback who came in via portal. So you're going to lose some guys, but I fully expect DeBoer knows what he's doing in the portal. So I think he's going to be able to utilize it. I think he's going to be able to, we'll see if the loss and the additions, if they balance out. I mean, that's yet to be decided. We'll know over the next couple of weeks.